no matter what age a student is, I think all students and families are looking for the same three things. And what that is to feel respected, accepted, and admired. And I think when you provide that type of community and environment, not only to your students and their families, but to your colleagues as well, you create an environment where people will thrive.
Hey everyone, this is Kim O'Neill from the Every Day's a New Day podcast and live show, and you're listening to the Going North podcast with the hilarious Dom Brightman. Be sure to subscribe to his show so you don't miss any episodes, and remember, every day is always a new day.
And today on the High Life Real Builder for Authors, known as the Going North podcast, it's another special occasion, baby, because we got one heck of a super special, awesome human on today's episode. Because this wonderful guest right here, I got to give a big shout out to the terrific Tammy Matheny for connecting me with this fabulous human right here, who is a mother, wife, English language teacher, as well as a reading specialist, mentor, and newly published author of a fabulous book called Take Me Home. And my goodness, like, you're going to be taken home today, folks, because she is a lady full of fabulosity, stories, and all sorts of awesomeness, since her name starts with the letter A. So let's give it up for the one and only Andrea Bitner. How you doing today, Andrea?
I'm doing great. How are you, Dom?
I'm doing fabulous indeed. Doing it fabulous, and congratulations. First ever entry into the business of immortality.
Thank you.
That's right. First of many to come. So how's it feel?
You know, it's been a lot of fun. It's been great to represent the wonderful young people in the book, Take Me Home, and connect with other people who are on like-minded missions and working on projects all around the country. It's been a lot of fun. Very, very humbling and very honored to represent this population.
Yeah, that's right. All the population, probably more than popcorn, I imagine.
Probably.
That's what I'm talking about, indeed. But it's not about wonderful popcorn. Well, actually, it probably is, because as with all introductions, there's probably a lot of stuff that I missed. So mind popping in any wonderful corn kernels I may have missed about the amazing Andrea herself?
Sure. I've been teaching for about 20 years, working as a reading specialist, a English teacher, and now an English language teacher, referred to as EL or ELL around the country. And I've had the honor of working with students from almost every continent in about 25 different countries, and more than 40 different languages. It's been an awesome experience. I am currently working as the EL teacher right now outside of Philadelphia, and I get to work with students daily on reading, writing, listening, and speaking the English language. And the coolest thing about them is that they really come here from all walks of life. We have students who have waited for visas for 10, 15 years. We have students who were adopted and brought here. We have students who have crossed the border. We have students who have come on exchange programs. And we also have students who were born here and are taught to be bilingual before they enter school at age 5 or 6 years old.
That's what I'm talking about. So a little bit of everybody.
Yes. It's awesome. It's such a diverse population. I really enjoy working with them and watching how hard they work on a daily basis.
There we go. That's right. Probably harder than 5 Rocks, I imagine.
Probably.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So my goodness, what led you to become an English teacher? Because that's not something that's on the minds of like everyday people, especially nowadays where teachers deserve to be paid more than they actually are.
Oh, I appreciate that. I always knew that I wanted to be an English teacher. But as I studied to be an English teacher at Westchester University, I never encountered anyone who spoke a different language, and I never dreamed that I would move into the ELL population. But when I got to teach in a district in the suburbs of Philadelphia, I was offered the opportunity to not only be a reading specialist, but to work with a group of English language learners during the day. And as soon as I met that group of special young people, I really fell in love with all of the resilience and courage and motivation and dedication that they had to not only coming to this country, but to learning all of the languages and traditions and cultures. And so I decided at that time, I wanted to go back to school myself to become a full-time English language teacher. And from that point on, I've worked with students in that field for almost 20 years now.
Yeah, that's right. That's right, folks. She graduated high school early, folks. She was like a prodigy. That's right. That's right, indeed. Graduating college at the age of 10, y'all. That's right. Been teaching for 20 years, baby. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about, indeed. So my goodness, with 20 years of wonderful teaching, still alive and well, still able to wear that pretty smile on your face. So what keeps you going with all of this?
You know, I'm really lucky. I love what I do. I get up every single day. And I think what keeps me going is the team of people that I have surrounded myself with within our district and within our family that really work hard together to provide such an excellent experience for our kids, for their families, for our community, and really for each other. It's that camaraderie and that support and those conversations and our dedication to learning more and growing more on a daily basis that really gets you excited in the morning to say, I get to go to school today. It's not I have to go to school today. It's I get to go to school today. And I think on the flip side, what brings you back in the field that I work in is the kids. You know, when they can come to school every single day and be willing to have the courage and the resilience and the ability to have, I call that first attempt in learning. And when they fail that first attempt in learning, they get up over and over and over and say, no, I can't not learn the language. I'm here for a reason. I'm here for a purpose. And I want to do even better than those around me right now. So I constantly work with those kids. And how could you not be motivated to want to work really hard for them and to receive a lot of fulfillment by working with kids that are so dedicated to mastering this language? The English language is really difficult. It's the most unpredictable language in the world. So I always hope that when people look at and meet these students and families that are learning our language, instead of saying, I want English right now, my goal is for them to look at those students and families or coworkers in the world that they're working with as adults and say, you're learning English? Wow. That, you know, if we could flip that script and have people start to look at that with that lens, I think that there would be a lot of opportunity for growth there.
That's what I'm talking about. Some magical growth indeed. And said so many powerful things right there. The classic one of the fact that you get to go to school as opposed to feeling like, oh God, I have to go to school. Like, I don't want to go. But it's like you have this wonderful positive attitude and the mindset to say, hey, I actually get to go to school today. And just seeing that as a gift as opposed to being a curse. Saying, heck, even with the subject that you teach, yes, English is the most unpredictable language. It's so darn hard to learn, even with English speakers. Like there's still sometimes where grammar isn't my strong suit. Heck, I almost failed English class almost all 4 years of my high school career. It's a darn tough language and it just keeps evolving and it's still a young language. That's the other part that a lot of people forget or don't know about. Like it's only 400 or 500 years old.
It is. And the region that we live in the Northeast, is the fastest speaking, most impatient part of the country. So in terms of the rapidity of our language and the expressions that we have and in our patience level. So I can only imagine if I joined another country for the first time, which I did have the opportunity to do in South America on a few occasions, and you walk in and everyone speaks a language that you don't. But at the same time, you have to have some form of communication because you have all these great ideas. And without communication, you're helpless. So it's so important, I think, to have some sense of empathy for the people who are learning our language. And when I traveled to South America a few times and had that trepidation and that moment of, oh no, I have to speak complete Spanish right now, and there are no other options. I have never had such a fear. And it was so limiting because I could only speak about certain ideas and then I couldn't expand on them. but the content that I had to add value to the conversation was so much more. So I just learned at that time, because it was only a 2-week trip, to kind of have a sense of humor and work my way through that language. But when you come here as a young adult, and that's your only option, and you're learning the language for 8 hours a day in an education environment that's rapidly changing, and sometimes every 45 minutes, with different teachers and speakers and different students in each class. And you're, like you were saying, we have different ways of saying things all around the country, and your brain is constantly trying to adapt to that. It's exhausting. It's really exhausting. So I have such admiration for that population, like you were saying, to work with every day, because they continue to work at it until it's mastered.
Yeah, that's right. Almost like a black belt martial artist indeed.
Definitely.
That's right. They have wonderful mastery. So my goodness, a trip to South America. So was it one long trip for like an evangelism trip, or was this something totally different?
So this is a great story. So I was working as a high school teacher with English language students, and one of my parents contacted me, and there was a school in the country of El Salvador, which I had never been to, who did not have computers. They were learning to type on a paper keyboard they had made out of cardboard. And there was a photo they had placed on a paper screen. And the parent called me and said, "Miss Bitner, I went to visit my country and I got to spend some time at one of our schools. And this is what our students are experiencing." And he said, "I thought, who could help me right now? Who could help me get computers to these students?" And he said, "I thought, Miss Bitner can help me get computers." So he came back to school, and we had a great team of teachers and technology department at the time. And we band together, and we were able to send this school 15 laptops, a printer, and a full supply of paper. So we were able to work with the family to ship everything down. And the coolest part was they were able to not only receive these computers, which at the time, it was President Obama was our president. So the children thought that Obama had personally sent them the computers. So the children are crying, "Obama sent us the computers." And the family members saying, "No, Miss Bitner and the team sent you the computers." And it was such a wonderful thing to see these students receiving them. The school was able to build a full brick classroom attached to the school and hire a security guard to watch over the computers on a daily basis, because they were something that they were really popular and needed and they hadn't seen before. So I was given the opportunity to go down to the school and visit the students and see the computers and work with them on 3 separate occasions, which was really wonderful. And like I said earlier, that was really eye-opening for me to see what I lovingly call just a complete shock to the system. It was not a tourist area. It was in the country of El Salvador, in a small town, where it was wonderful to see what they've accomplished there with so little.
That's what I'm talking about, indeed. That's what I'm talking about, indeed. That's right, helping folks upgrade the technology, indeed, because that's one heck of an interesting start for kids, especially in some of the parts of the world where technology isn't so ready for them. They just have to adapt, and just having to do big cardboard monitors with keyboards drawn on pieces of paper. It just shows how hard folks are willing to work and how they're willing to adapt and really use the power of their imagination to really just try to get ahead as much as possible of what they have, and being able to connect with people across the globe and help them to get some technology. So that's freaking awesome.
Absolutely.
So by goodness days, so the power of helping others, connecting with others, and having empathy for the students that you teach. What's probably, I have to say, since you've been doing this for a while, what would you say would be the best way to, and there could be multiple ways for doing this, because nowadays folks may need more empathy now than ever with COVID and everything else going on that happened even before COVID hit. What's probably helped you to keep your high level of empathy during these times?
You know, when COVID hit, as an educator, I really feel like we were going through what I call the TLL experience instead of the English language learning experience. For us, it became the technology language learning experience. And everything we knew, just like an ELL person, coming to our country was flipped upside down in terms of what we know at school. We had to learn a new language. It's called Cami and Google Classroom and Talking Points and Screencastify and Canvas and all of these things we had never seen before. Our physical buildings were changed. Some of us became teachers from home. Some of us became teachers at school. Some of us became teachers in front of the screen and with in-person students at the same time. It really unraveled every teaching practice for many of us as a veteran teacher that we've ever encountered. And not only was the language different, the physical building was different. Our time of day for scheduling is different. Our supports in a lot of ways have decreased. We don't see our peers. We don't have our lunch periods. We don't have that camaraderie with our colleagues who are our daily sense of support. Now, granted, we found, and just like a person moving to this country would find and adapt, like you were saying, ways to be successful through all of it. But what we needed was time, and what we needed was a sense of empathy for ourselves and each other. And what we needed was a lot of teamwork and a lot of resources. And I think as we saw in the spring, we had that TLL experience. And as we continue through the fall, I feel like now we're getting to a point where we can breathe a little bit and start to perfect some of the things that we've had to change or learn. But wow, what an equitable, in my mind, experience to have a sense of empathy for those that are coming here and assimilating to things just like that.
Yeah, you can say that again. Yeah. Yeah, the wonderful TLL. Yeah.
Technology learning. Yes, absolutely. Technology language learner. We all became them.
Yep, that's right. You're on mute. That's like the easiest. That's almost like the new hello now for Zoom. Google Classroom, probably.
Yes, exactly. Good morning. Oh, wait, you're on mute. You're on mute. Absolutely.
Oh, my goodness. My goodness. Well, yes, indeed. So with all this wonderful truth and words of needing time to really adapt to everything and now getting to the place where now you can actually experiment and probably try some things differently. What's probably been the biggest lesson you learned with teaching English during this whole pandemic, and even probably before the pandemic, that you probably had to adjust even before this time to really stay on your toes, because entertaining is also a part of teaching?
Absolutely. I think that what I've learned over my time in education is that every student, because I've worked with kids in grades K to 12, whether it was as a reading specialist, as an English language teacher, or as a high school English teacher, I've had the fortunate path to meet lots of different kids and families from all over. And no matter what age a student is, I think all students and families are looking for the same three things. And what that is to feel respected, accepted, and admired. And I think when you provide that type of community and environment, not only to your students and their families, but to your colleagues as well, you create an environment where people will thrive. And I think that working with this population in particular, you provide an environment where they can open space in their learning and physically in their brain to learn and thrive more and grow better because their level of anxiety is gone. And I think that more than anything, when you can provide that sense of acceptance and respect and admiration, you will open up doors for those students that otherwise may completely be shut. And when you don't provide those things, I really think you're masking them. We talk now about being masked. Well, if you don't provide an environment for students with those elements, in addition to an engaging curriculum and engaging strategies to keep them learning, and you don't allow them to grow with their reading, writing, listening, and speaking, you are masking them from their opportunities later in life. And I couldn't imagine what that would be like to walk around for the rest of your life with limited communication, with that mask forever. And that's why I think it's so important to use that approach to working with not only English language learners, but all students.
Yeah, that's right. The ARA, that aura swag, indeed. Everybody wants to be accepted, respected, and admired. That's what I'm talking about, indeed. I love it. Acronym swag all day. Acronym swag, what the heck, half a day. Who am I kidding, all day? So with all this wonderful stuff, you got this wonderful book coming out called Take Me Home that chronicles some stories from wonderful students. Mind filling us in a bit of what to expect from the book before folks grab and put their hands all over it and read it?
Yes. So Take Me Home is a true story. It's based on countless interviews with former students of mine who are now in their late 20s and early 30s. And what it provides is an opportunity to see what it's like now that students are young, successful, professional, bilingual people here in the U.S. It provides an opportunity to hear what that experience was like from their perspective. I feel like as educators and people in the world, we always make assumptions or feel like we know about someone who may have moved here or who is born here and bilingual in terms of, oh, they speak this language, or, oh, that's part of their culture, or in education world, oh, they're going to become more proficient when this happens, or, oh, yes, you need to know that this student is celebrating this holiday. Just that basic data-based information. But I thought to myself, no one ever asks a student, what was that like for you? Now that you are a young professional, bilingual, young adult in the world that's here in the U.S. thriving successfully, when you look back on it, what did you gauge from that experience? So Take Me Home was the opportunity to gauge a bird's eye view of their perspective. So it's written in their perspective. Each student is given a chapter. Their names have been changed. So we have characters like Plunge and Volt and Grit and Fuel and Embrace. And that was purposely relatable to whatever experience they had had coming to this country. And it centers around their courage and resilience and tragedy and tribulation. And what I really hope people walk away with when they read it is I hope that they're moved and inspired by these 12 young, amazing bilingual men and women who had the courage and the resilience and the inspiration to move to this country for a variety of reasons, overcome tragedies and tribulations that happen in the book, and walk away with a sense of admiration for their journey.
Ah, sweet. So 12 of them, huh?
Yes. And I had the opportunity to interview them. The book began over a year ago. So we did a lot of interviews via FaceTime, and I was able to pull some element of their experiences out of each discussion and create a chapter that revolved around each of them. And we are still in contact today, and they are absolutely ecstatic to be represented in this light and for people to hear and really resonate with their experiences.
Ah, sweet. That's what I'm talking about, indeed. That's what I'm talking about, indeed. That's right. English teaching extraordinaire, baby. That's what I'm talking about.
All teamwork, all part of the team.
Yeah. Makes you dream while you're working, right?
Definitely.
But yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Well, sounds freaking fabulous. Sounds freaking fabulous. Heck, even with a capital F, probably.
Thank you.
Sweet. So something to look forward to, folks. Definitely grab some copies of that book. Tell your family and your friends about it. So we're coming down to the magical question that every guest gets to receive. And that is, if you're to wake up tomorrow and you're at 25 again, but this time in the current year of 2021, with all of your knowledge and experience, what advice would you give to yourself?
Wow. I think there are a couple things I'd probably give advice-wise I'd give to myself. The first one is, in the words of Rolita Clark, if you can see it, you can be it. When you start to have a sense of purpose in your life and figure out your why, behind why you think you're here and what it is you're meant to do, I would start to really have a sense of belief much earlier than when I did now. And I think that I would start to really give myself forgiveness in the sense of that first attempt in learning. You know, you're never what you've done. You are always learning. You are always growing. You're always going to have first attempts in things. And sometimes, as one of my mentors told me, and I would tell my 25-year-old self this, you have to take a lot of losses before you get your win. And you have to be willing to get up through every loss that you experience in life, personally, professionally. And you have to be able to say, what can I learn from that? What did I learn from that? So I would look at my 25-year-old self and say, be ready to learn. I would look at that young lady and I would say, be ready to fail and be ready to grow through it. And I would look at her and say, and never give up on your purpose, what you're here for and why you're excited to do it. That power of yet. You know, I'm not going to reach that goal today, but I will get there eventually. It's something I would tell her to be really looking forward to. And I think that as a teacher, that's what we employ with our students, all of those strategies.
Oh, yeah, I can say that again. You can say that again. Yes, indeed. I wish they preached that more when I was in school, because I got my butt handed to me on those darn tests. My goodness. But yeah, it's definitely. Yeah, some flashbacks of red. Oh my gosh. Probably bad having a flashback, but hey, it's all good. It's all good indeed, because it's so true. Like it's like life. Like you're going to get hit in more ways than one. You just got to make sure you can get back up after taking those hits and being able to see what you did wrong and then come back the next time even stronger and better than butter.
Absolutely. And I think that's what I admire so much about people who are learning this language, is that they do that on a daily basis. I wanted to add, in terms of Take Me Home, if you've ever wondered, why do people come here? I think that this would be a great book for you. If you've ever wondered, what is it like to be here? I think that this book would be a great read for you. And for all of the people who are already in the U.S., living here and really having feelings of success in this world, I think it would be great for you to gain the perspective of someone else.
Yeah, that's right. I can say that again. Indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Because it's uphill. It's definitely uphill, especially folks who see the opportunity that still lies within the land of opportunity that we sometimes are blinded to. That's right. That's right, indeed. So for those who aren't blind to the opportunity and want the opportunity to pick up the copy or 500 of your fabulous book, what's the best way, folks, to keep up with what you're doing?
Absolutely. So this book will be launched in spring of 2021. If you would like to reach out to me, the best place to reach me is on Instagram at Andrea Bitner Books.
Sweet. Well, there you have it, folks. The ab with 2 B's, baby. Andrea Bitner Books, baby. That's what I'm talking about, indeed. Slide into her fabulous DMs and ask her, hey, when's the book coming out so I can buy 25 or 2,500 so that way they can share with the rest of the world, indeed. And you, too, can take this book home with you. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed, with all the homies. So any parting words before I close up shop, Andrea?
Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak with you today and to start to spread this awesome message. I look forward to connecting with many of you around the world and around the country and celebrating the awesome young bilingual men and women that are in this blooming garden in America.
How's it going, you super special, awesome human? Since you made it to the end of this episode, it looks like you really enjoyed yourself. Since you enjoyed this episode, be sure to share it with at least 3 people in your network and tell them what you really liked about this episode. Heck, even shoot myself or the guests an email and let them know what you liked most about this interview so that way they can stay inspired to keep pushing out great work.